Hello, you are welcome again to my channel. My name is Blessing Ejechi. Today we want to look at naming ceremonies in African tradition and its spiritual implications. I'm here with my father that will do justice to this topic. Please, I would like you to listen to the end. So I would like you to introduce yourself, sir.
Well, I am Venerable Frank Emini. I'm an Anglican priest and I serve at St. Thomas Anglican Church, Umutu.
All right. So can we hear what you have to say? In fact, firstly, what is name?
Well, before we can go into the topic,
Yes, sir.
we should all be able to know what the topic stands for
Yes, sir.
in naming ceremonies in African culture. In other words, when a child is born, the child is expected to be given a name. And in almost all African culture, it's 7 days after birth, name will be given to the child. And the question is, what is name? Biblical definition of name is word by which a person or thing is known. Word by which a person or thing is known. Or it can also be defined as one's reputation or essential nature. The essential nature is almost applicable to God Himself. The essential nature of God is what we call name, or the simple definition of name.
Can this also be regarded as the identity?
Yeah, that is why we say what you are referred to. And I don't want to use the word identity.
Okay, sir.
Because identity can apply to a lot of things.
Yes, sir.
So what we will take for today is word by which a person or thing is known. Now, if you after this definition, then you will now talk about what is it like to name somebody in an African setting or culture. What is it like? How do we name people? Naming is one of the greatest traditions in African culture. When a child is born, the ceremony is celebrated. Not a question of little celebration. The excitement is always in the air. And that is why the naming itself attracts a lot of attention. Children born to an African parents is so important to them. Very, very important. Especially when it comes to a male child. It's very important. And the sex of the child, most often, you know, portrays the type of ceremony that will follow it.
Yes, that's true.
So if it's a male child, oh, it becomes very glorious.
Yes.
The parents are happy. The siblings are happy. The relations are happy because it's a male child. Therefore, the ceremony is always very elaborate. It's a female child. They celebrate.
Yes.
Of course, they celebrate birth. but it cannot be compared
That of a male
to that
child.
of a male child. So you see, the ceremony varies. Naming ceremony varies, and but in all this, the same steps are taken
Yes,
to name the child.
the child.
The child is brought before the elder of the family on the seventh day after birth. The extended family gathers. Is not only the immediate family,
Family.
the extended family gathers.
The friends and well-wishers.
Friends and well wishers are invited, and they all gather together to celebrate the naming of the child. After the normal setting of setting the stage, because there's a stage,
Yes, sir.
we have the family life stick, which we call Uglish, which is permanently in the middle of the compound of a traditional family. In that place is the custodian of the family head. In the eastern part of Nigeria, it is where they keep the ofo. And in our own area here too, the ofo is also left in that place,
Family head.
in the family head compound, where the life stick, which I don't know what they call it in English, represents the ancestors. It is there that they call the attention of the ancestors. I want to explain one thing. It is important to know the significance of the earth goddess to the naming of a child. The earth goddess, which we refer to as Ane,
Yes.
is very important to us. Before we cultivate our farms, the Ane is appeased. We don't just go to farm and start cultivating the farm. We wait until after the Ane or the earth goddess is appeased before we go to the farms to first and foremost weed before planting. And that is the beginning of every traditional village festivals attributed to her. They believe that it is Ane that gives them food. And if the Ane is not appeased, it becomes difficult to receive food from anything you plant. That is why they are very careful about it.
Not to offend them,
Of course,
because
you don't try
that
it.
is a source of the food.
It's not only the source of food, it's also the source of fertility. Even if a woman is barren, the infertility is attributed to Annie. So Annie must be appeased in order for you to be fertile. So the goddess of Annie is very, very insignificant in this naming ceremony because they believe children comes from the goddess, earth goddess.
Goddess. Wow.
So for them today, for anybody to now name a child must be brought before the earth goddess. And when the child is brought, incantations are made, prayers are made before the head goddess. The head goddess is appeased through libation. If the family is a rich family, they sacrifice one life thing of the other. And the head of the child is committed to the head goddess 3 times, knocked on the ground 3 times, 1, 2, 3. And the child is named by the father or the elder of the family. But the father provides the name, child. I'm coming to the name.
Yes, sir.
So after these ceremonies, we have fun fairs. People go, rejoice, they drink, and so on. That is for our traditional setting.
Yes, sir.
Because I just want to talk about it in both ways.
Yes, sir.
What about the church? With the advent of Christianity, there were a lot of modifications. And instead of that 7 days, we follow the footsteps of the scripture established by our Master, Jesus Christ. 8th day, we go, we present the child. After the presentation, the child is named accordingly, according to the scriptures. But that is a little bit of, deviation from the traditional setting, whereby even if you don't go to church, you can still name the pastor can come and name the child in your compound on the 8th day. You see that naming in both ways is very important to our own culture and situation, our environment. We name children. Now, if you look at the Bible, let's talk about the traditional naming. How are names given? Did they just wake up one day and begin to name a child? Will they just come and say, okay, I'll give you this name? If you look at the direction at which they go in their naming, you will see that there are great significance attached to the naming of a child traditionally. It is not taken lightly at all. The naming of a child can be influenced by the gods. If they were attributes of God that was present at the birth of the child, names are given according to the attributes of that God. Take, for example, in our local dialect, we name people Osai. Osai is our own God, goddess. And there must have been a significant influence of Osai in the birth of that child. That's why that child is named accordingly. There are also water goddess who would have been said to have given that child to the mother. And names are given according to the water goddess that gave the child to the parents. So they just come and say name, no. There are other influences like the environment. Environment also contributes to the naming of a child. What was the setting of their family? before the child was born. It goes a long way to influence the name of the child. If we talk about the environment, we talk also about the marriage environment. The marriage environment, which contributes a lot to the mother's naming of the child. Take, for example, there's this family that the man married his first wife. The first child was a girl child. The people saw there, the family, the siblings saw that the man had no son. They decided to give the man another wife that can produce a male child. The man met with the second wife, and the second wife gave birth to a son. The man returned to the first wife, and the first wife conceived and gave birth to a son. And the first wife gave the son effort the boy. In that case, he said, "Bear it, my daughter." So you understand the circumstances that could lead to names. Environmental, the condition of the wife will most often lead to the naming of the child in our traditional setting. It is not also excluded from the Bible. In the scriptures, we have issues like that. God changed the name of Abraham for a purpose. He didn't change the name because he wanted to change the name. He changed the name to suit the presence of God in his life. So you see the influence of God in the naming or change of name of Abraham and Sarah in the scriptures. It was not just because he wanted to change their name. He wanted to remove them from their traditional setting and bring them into his own setting. That was what God did. He didn't stop there. You look at Genesis also, chapter 25, verse 19, even to 34. You see God also in action in the life of Jacob and Esau. He said, two nations and your womb. So already God has created two nations in the womb of Rebekah before they were born. Then at birth, it was said that the first that came out was reddish, with hair. And that was what informed them to name him Esau. So it was his physical future that contributed to his naming. He said the second came almost immediately, holding on to the heels of the first. In other words, he wants to come first before.
Spirit of competition.
Yes, and that was why he was given Jacob. And these two names did not depart from them at all. And coming to the spiritual significance of these issues, it never departed. And there is another setting. It's 1 Samuel chapter 4, verse 21. See, there was war in Israel. Eli was killed. All his children were also massacred. The Ark of the Covenant was captured and carried away. And the message came. And one of the wives of Eli's sons went into labor almost immediately and gave birth to a son. With her last breath, he named the son Ichabod, referring to the ark of covenant that has been taken away. He said, the glory of God has departed. So the whole thing was informed by the situation, circumstances of birth. And if you look at also Second Samuel chapter 4, verse 4, it talked about Mephibosheth, the son of Jonathan, who was born at the time that war was in Israel and the whole sons of the king were killed. The nurse who was nursing Mephibosheth struggled to take him away from the palace. And Mephibosheth fell and became crippled. And the name was given to him because he said to himself that he was Saul. Not only to himself, but to the house of kings. Because no king's son can be crippled. It is an abomination for a king's son to be crippled. And from the very beginning, he regarded himself as of no significance. Even the name identified him as of no consequences. Even when David invited him to come, and David offered to give him the luxury of his father, he said, who am I? A dead dog. If you see, things are very, very significant. Name, very, very significant. We will just treat a few names in the scriptures. If you see, that's Chronicles, chapter 4, verse 9 to 10, talks about Jabez. Why was that name given to him? The Bible in the first two lines, in that verse 9, he said he was given, the mother gave birth to him in sorrow, great pain. Because of the pain, he gave him a name that identified him to be sorrowful. So you are automatically in sorrow. That was what the mother gave to him. Again, you can see the names. And the third question we are going to ask, what is in a name? What is in a name? Has it become very significant? How do we feel that it affects? And that comes to the second part of this discussion, which is understanding the spiritual significance of the name. Understanding the spiritual significance of a name. No matter the situation, no matter what man claims, there are significance attached to the name. It is not ordinary, and it cannot be ordinary. One way or the other, the importance of your name, the significance of your name showcases along the journey of life. It can never miss. And that is why most often a traditional African man thinks very deeply before giving a name. He cannot give names without great thoughts attached to the name, whether positive or negative. First and foremost, they believe that the ancestors controls the affairs of men. So also we believe that God has dominion over the affairs of men. That is one. The second is that name. When they call you your name, there's a response. There's no way that you are walking along and somebody calls your name that you will not turn.
Definitely.
You must turn. It's your identity. So you must turn. You must respond to your name. You cannot just walk away. There was a situation where I traveled to Calabar. Myself and my brother-in-law went to a place to eat. I've never been to Calabar once. He took me to a place to eat. And while we were eating, somebody walked up to me and called me my native name, Boyejibe. Ah. And I turned immediately. Because one, it's a native name. It's only the people at home that use and address me in that name. No other person. So I believed in my heart before turning that this person
Moves you to the house.
to the home, not ordinary person. And I thought, I didn't recognize him. And I said, how are you? Did you know me? He said, I stayed in Obiaroko. See, names are very, very significant. It attracts your attention. You respond to it without delay. And that is how it also is spiritually significant. Take the scriptures. If you look at 1 Samuel chapter 11, you see a situation. No, it's not for chapter 11, 1 Samuel. The witch at Edom. When Saul was depressed, he wanted to know the future. He wanted to know what will become of him and the nation Israel because of the impending war. As at that time Samuel was dead, God was not even answering Saul again. He decided to consult a witch who had the power to know the future. And the witch asked one question. In verse 11, who do you want me to call? Who do you want me to call? He said, call for me Samuel. He mentioned his name. He did not say, call for me the prophet. He mentioned his name. And the witch consulted, made his incantation, and called Samuel. The Bible records that Samuel got up from his deathbed to answer the call of that woman who is a witch. So you can see the significance of name. That anywhere that you are, you can be someone. Spiritually someone. Traditionally, we have incidents whereby people die mysteriously because their names were someone somewhere and they answered. If it is possible to hide your name, you should hide it too. But it's not possible. Therefore, you have a spirit that is greater than the one that is summoning you in order not to answer. So spiritual forces can be used to summon you and you will answer. Name can also influence your destiny. I said it before, that is typically impossible for us to assume that there is nothing in names. No, no. Goliath of God was given that name because of his strength. It was not his name alone, it was a traditional name which they bear. Name influences your destiny. In northern Nigeria, most names come from their villages. They name themselves according to their villages. Shagari is a village in the north. Yes, many of them are answering Shagari, which is in order to portray the village came from, make their village to be popular. To name it affects your destiny. There are people that are given the wrong names. Ritually brings them down. Take, for example, Jabez. Jabez was given a name, and he said, in all his brothers, he was the only one that break forth because he had to change his name. He said, God, change my name. I don't want to remain here again. Change my name. And God decided to change his name. If not for the intervention of God, he would have also remained insignificant like his other brothers that are not known in the scriptures. Between the period of Eli to the first king, Israel was thrown into darkness because of the name that was given to that child, Ichabod. Spirit of the Lord has departed. But with the departure of the Spirit of God, many things went wrong. Everything went wrong until the presence of God came back. And that was the beginning of the revival with Israel. So spiritually, we see names affecting our destiny in the way we live our lives. And that is why most often when we bring children for baptism in an Anglican church, we ask the parents' name. Because some of us are giving names now ignorantly. We give Oyibo names that we don't even understand. We also give out names that also can also truncate our destiny. I had a classmate, had several brothers, and this man didn't progress. and most often they attribute to his poor progress to his name. His name as at that time was Emuabanos. And out of his brothers, he was the only one who didn't go to school. Believe it or not, you can say that it is a coincidence, but not all things are coincidental. It's a one thing that is very sure is that we have the spiritual and the physical. We cannot exclude the spirit from the physical. And the more we pretend to say the spirits are not influencing our lives, the more we lose focus, even in the journey of life. Because definitely, one way or the other, it comes back. You ask yourself, why is it that this one that they gave in Wabanos is the only one that is not progressing? You ask yourself. There's another one, Aliada Agboso. Is his name, Aliada Agboso. He said, the earth cannot move. The earth cannot move. You know, Wabanos is that life cannot, everybody cannot be prosperous. Everybody cannot be prosperous. So he excluded himself from the prosperity. The spirit heard about it and sanctioned it and excluded him. And this one is Aliada Agboso. The earth cannot move. So he never passed his exams. So you see all these names biblically, traditionally, influencing the life of people. In our conclusion, we can definitely see there are significant influence of our name on our life journeys. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much. In fact, I'm getting more insight than the one I know before. I know that names have spiritual significance, but the way you have really explained it has given me a deeper understanding that names play a significant role, whether you like it or not. Now, what will be your counsel to parents that, for instance, now I give birth to a child now? What will be your counsel to me as a person that have known the significance of names?
You see, well, it will be, what will I say, do not be fair to give names without great thoughts. Do not be fair. It will not be fair. Names most often, like as we said, and if we conclude now, or in our families, a name influences the destiny of the child. We must think before names are given. We advise parents not to look at their environment, the problem associated with their marriages in giving names. Because those situations cannot last forever. But the name will last forever. Situations will not last forever. So we advise that good names will be given to children. one of the greatest thing I learned lately concerning this names issue is when the president of Nigeria, Goodluck Jonathan, became the president of Nigeria. And he himself started tracing his background on the whole of the nation, one way or the other, concluded that his name played a great part in his life. Johnny, good luck. And he's been lucky ever since.
Yes.
Ever since till now. He's one of the most accredited, one of the most respected presidents in Africa today. Very significant. When we give good names that reflects the glory of God, that is the most important thing. God's glory reflects the glory of God. And this glory and this thing we all the time reflect in the life of the person. You can't give somebody darkness now. Has anybody given anybody Judas? If you want to give me
Some people get Judas.
you see, they must have
Reasons, that's
for giving that name. That atheistic reason. Some of them are worshippers of Satan. So they attribute those names to those who crucified Jesus. The man even answered Pontius Pilate, Herod, and so on. Those names are even common in the Jewish culture that does not even believe in Christianity. They are common names. But to us Christians, we don't give such names because we believe that it has a very negative implication. And if you believe that names could have negative implication of the child, you must be diligent. But think about it before names happen. And names that will reflect the glory of God. Names that will project the child. Let's leave Christianity. That will project the child. Now, I want to also give you an example. If you look at our history, you see that some families are still bearing their great-great-grandfather's name. You understand me? Their great-great-great-grandfather's name. Why? Because they have made names along the line. They have become popular, prominent, that removing the name will make you insignificant.
wow.
So they attach the name, even when they are married. They now attach the name to their names. It's very common.
That is why the Bible says good name is to be chosen than riches.
Of course. Of course. So we still continue to answer. Our father's name are forgotten. If you look at my history, Emini is the father of Ekule. Ekule is the father of Joshua. Joshua is my father. But I still answer Emini. Ekule, gone. Joshua, gone. My children are answering Emini. Me, gone. Just because of the name. They are growth. their influence, the standard that they have created. Some abandon their names because of what must have happened in the past. Some names are attributed to murder, stealing. So some will grow up and say, no, I won't answer this name. Especially those people that were executed for robbery, or known criminals. You see their children changing their names to answer another name. You see that names, one way or the other, are also source for which you regulate or you grow. You grow. As you, what is your name? You are proud to say, this is my name. And when the people maybe around there knows you, your father or your grandfather, you say, yes, 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 we know you. There are times you go to your suitor, or you go to your in-laws. You want to marry. They now ask you, what is your name? Now you have come for introduction.
Yes.
And I say, this is my name. And you start murmuring. At times they will just go to another room, consult. We not go give our application. Just because of the name you bear. They will not give you wife. Just because of your name. It's there, very, very common. People aspire to marry great names. If you call some of the names, you say, okay, that is good. Oh, I know, we know this family. When I wanted to get married, I went to my father. I told my father, I want to get married. Well, who do you want to marry? Is the person around here? I said, yes, the person is around here. I say, look at the name of the person. Yes, I know the man. He's a very good man. I know the mother. They live long. Those are the two things he used.
Wow.
The grandfather was a Baruch of Bogarko. The other father was a Baruch of Bogarko. So they live long. You can go ahead. Name. Name also regulates your activities. It regulates your activities. When you remember your name, you cannot mess up. You cannot. They know, even when you are summoned, they will tell you it's not found in our family. You are strange. This is not our character. It's not our name. So it regulates your character. It regulates your life. I go do this thing now. They will reject me. Leave it. Those are it.
Wow. Thank you so much. Okay, now, lastly, what counsel will you give to a person that wants to change his name? For instance, a person discovered, like when I was in school, there were some of my classmates that decided to change their names. So when you ask some of them, they will tell you that their names represented something that was wrong. So they go to the council, they sue affidavits that they want to change their names. Is it something that somebody should do casually, or when you just discover that your name, the meaning of your name, does not symbolize what may be conventionally okay? You should just go ahead and change your name.
Well, again, this thing is very important because
Yes.
it has influenced a lot of people. It has caused a lot of trouble. A lot of trouble. Even when you go to embassy, the arrangement of your name in your name,
Yes.
NIN, and the arrangement of your name in your passport must tally, or S. You will not get a visa. Your name in your certificate must also tell with your birth certificate. And that is where you see people trying to marry them now that they are adults. They now go to swear affidavits. There are two things that influences name changing. Two, of course, that I know. One is our social setting. When I was in school, the names that my father gave to me, Chukodi, Azoka. I got to school. I was in the hostel, and I saw people bearing English name. No, my second primary school. We wanted to register for primary six, and they asked me, "What is your English name?" I really did not have English name. You understand?
Yes.
Other people were given English name. So you know what I did? I now translated my own vernacular name, which is Chukode, to Gode, and they wrote it Gode. So my certificate bears Chukode, Gode, Azoka. That Gode is not in my birth certificate. I created it at primary school level. When I went to the secondary school, we were to register WAEC. See ignorance, oh, this is pure ignorance. That's why I'm saying society influences changing of names. And today is telling on us greatly, greatly. In the secondary school, we were to register WAEC. I said, this Chukwu is not good. I mean, this God. It's not a fine name.
Yeah.
I need to change this name. And I did. I removed Gordy completely and put Frank. So today I have complex names that will be rejected anywhere if it's given. And that is what is happening to some of our politicians today. Indiscriminate changing of names. Indiscriminate. Every year, society influences our changing of names. Some people will now go to secondary school, they start answering Jennifer. They bring in English name, which of course their parents did not know about. It's not their fault, it's the society. Then the second aspect that you have just asked is this question of the name itself. If it connotes good name, good, if the name is popular and the good, nobody bothers to change it. It's only when There are certain evil attached to the name. One, it can be a name given by the gods, attributed to the gods. You now become a Christian. Then no, I will stop answering this name. You go to registry, you change your name. There are also names that are attributed to crime that you look at and say, no, I don't want to be associated with this background. You change your name. These are the names, but there are dangerous implications. It took me time to go to the registry to connect all these names. You know, these are the implications. If you do it at all, you must link them. You must link them so that people will not doubt your identity, because your name identifies you. If there's any spelling error self in your name, correct it now. Correct it now. Some people are very, very strict in such things. Spelling errors. You say, no, 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 that's not my name. That's not my name. Correct it. Because if you leave it, tomorrow somebody will quote. That is it.
Wow. I believe we have learned so much. Well, I want to appreciate you for taking out your time to give us this wonderful, I would say, message, because we really need to take this woman and imbibe it into our lives.
Okay, of course, that is what brought us here.
Yes,
Is
sir.
God is real. You look at Jesus, he gave him a name that is above every other name. That the name of Jesus Christ, every knee must bow. Whether we like it or not. You see the name answering issues. The name Jesus. At his name, things bow. A man that was converted recently, he told me in his dream all the time, people will come to beat him up. People will come to beat him up until he came to Jesus. When he was converted and baptized, he said, when they come like that, you say, Jesus, and immediately he screams, Jesus. They will leave him alone.
Wow.
That shows the effectiveness of the name. So bearing names attributed to godliness is the beginning of your prosperity on earth. Abandon traditional names. Traditional names are good, associated to God. But those names that does not give glory to God, leave them alone. Don't give them to your children. We call some prophecies as an environmental prophecy. Don't give them environmental names that will destroy their lives. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I want to appreciate you for watching. Please, if you have not subscribed to this channel, I would like you to do so. I believe our Father will also come again next time.